And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome tonight New York Times bestselling author and debut thriller writer, Emiko Jean, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new book out tomorrow, The Return of Ellie Black. Emiko, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. So The Return of Ellie Black is kind of a different take on the missing girl narrative. The story begins with Chelsey Calhoun. She is a small-town Japanese-American police detective, and she receives a phone call that Ellie Black, a teen that went missing more than 2 years ago without leaving a trace, has mysteriously resurfaced in the woods of Washington State. And now Chelsey finally has a chance to solve the cold case that has never stopped haunting her. And it should be open and shut. But Chelsey is left with far more questions than answers because Ellie won't say where she's been or what happened to her. And as Chelsey digs deeper into Ellie's history and her recent behavior, which seems very suspicious, Chelsey runs headlong into demons of her own. So unresolved grief over her murdered sister and the subsequent fracturing of her family. The novel is told primarily from Chelsey's point of view, but we also get some great flashes of perspective from those close to Ellie, and then a really chilling firsthand account from Ellie herself. It's a book about trauma and survival, and hopefully it leaves readers guessing until the very last page.
Well, it definitely left me guessing until the very last page. And then the last page made me wonder what the heck I just read. So we have a lot to talk about, Emiko. We have a lot to talk about. Ooh, thanks for all the hearts up on Facebook, guys. All right, y'all, we got a lot to talk about with this juicy read, and we're going to get down into it. But first, I just want to welcome everyone because we are broadcasting live to 8 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday, and because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make them a little less painful and get your week off to a killer start. So if this is your first time here, welcome. We're so happy to have you. And I hope we'll see you again. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Emiko about switching into the thriller genre. Is it as cutthroat as she's heard? Ask her about her writing process, her creative process, her characters, this kidnapped girl flipping, as you said, the narrative on its head. We have flipping the missing girl narrative. We have so much to talk about. Yes, we are all leaning in indeed. Okay, we have Renee. She says, hi, Emiko and Sara from Southeast Florida. Hi, Renee. Welcome to the conversation. We have Elizabeth joining us from Facebook saying, good evening, Sara and Emiko. Good evening to you, Elizabeth. We have Robin joining us from Facebook saying, hello, Sara and Emiko. Hi, Robin. So good to have you back. We have Robin saying, because Mondays can be murder, LOL. Thank you for picking up what I'm putting down, Robin. We're vibing. I'm loving it. Erica's joining us from Mexico saying, hola. Hola, Erica. Welcome. Good to see you. We have Mike O'Neill joining us. Said, one of my top reads of the year so far. Oh. Dang. He said, great cover and perfect title. It is such a beautiful cover. This is a silhouette of a young girl. So let's start there. I know people, I saw a couple comments about the cover. Tell us about this beautiful cover. Was this the first version? Is this the 100th? Did a lot end up at the cutting room floor?
We did a couple covers that featured more like larger typography, and there wasn't the image of the girl yet. But it was really important to me, one, to feature an image of a woman on the book. And then also, I love it when the cover hints at something important about the book. And so as a reader, when I'm finished reading and I go back and I look at the cover, I see something new, and there's kind of like a little Easter egg in there. And so if you read the book, you'll be able to figure out why there's that little flower on the cover.
Ooh, I love it. I love a good Easter egg. So tasty. Mary joining us from Seattle, Washington. Welcome to the conversation. Oh, we have questions already. Okay, Renee wants to know, wait, so the story is from 2 different POVs, she says? She asks.
Yeah, it's actually from multiple perspectives. So I started writing this book a long time ago, and originally it was all from Ellie's perspective, but that sucked all of the mystery and suspense out of the book because she's supposed to be kind of hiding what happened to her in the present timeline. And so I added in Chelsey's perspective, and that kind of broke the novel wide open. And I decided that there should be other perspectives too. So we get Ellie's dad's perspective, we get her mom's perspective, we get her psychiatrist's perspective. And in that way, Ellie can still be active in the present timeline, but she's not giving away too much.
So how many did you, okay, so when you first, that is very interesting to know that you wrote originally just from Ellie's point of view. And then, thanks for all the surprised faces up there, you guys. So, and then you added in these extra POVs. So when you added them in, was it like, okay, now I'm just going to add the mom? Oh, well, then I wonder what the dad is saying. Oh, well, what about the therapist, who becomes a very important part of Ellie's life? Oh, well, then, or was it like, no, I need all of these people, and this is exactly, how did that happen?
Yeah, so it was Ellie first and then Chelsey. And so I had that kind of like skeleton structure. And then the rest of the point of views all came at once. So I wrote her dad's point of view, her mom's, the therapist, all in that kind of third round. And then I went back and I fine-tuned them just a little bit, but they were all written around the same time.
Okay, thank you for that. Sharon Bishop joining us from YouTube saying, hey girls, hey Sharon, so good to see you. Thanks for popping up. Sharon is saying the cover is gorgeous. The cover is so gorgeous. Renee, thank you for vibing. She's like, so how did you actually write these? Did you write, so we had all Ellie, and then you went back and you inserted these other points of views one at a time, or sprinkling them in at once, or how did that work?
It was really, really disjointed and like super confusing. I'm not even really clear on how I did it. So I did go back and forth between the narrative. So I would have like a past chapter from Ellie, and then I would insert a present chapter from Chelsey. And I really wanted Chelsey to be solving things ahead of Ellie. So as you're reading the book, Chelsey kind of solves one clue or one mystery, and then Ellie kind of corroborates it in the past timeline. And so Ellie's timeline is really used to illuminate the present timeline. And then I inserted the rest of the other point of views. And in the other point of views, Ellie is usually present in them. And she's also dropping little hints about what she's up to in those present chapters when she's interacting with her family. Once I had all the point of views in place, I separated them all out into 3 parts. So Ellie's, and then Chelsey's, and then the families and the therapists. And I revised all of those kind of separately, just to make sure that my voices were distinct and that each character had their own arc, and they all ended, on a hopeful note, or, all of their stories felt really complete.
Thank you for that question, Renee, and thank you, Emiko, for the answer. So my book, Broadway Butterfly, is told through 4 POVs, and over the 10 years that it took me to write that, I spent a lot of time banging my head on the desk saying, why did I ever decide to write in 4 POVs? Yeah. And it made my life so much harder. It made the storytelling so much more complex. And I had also read that you should be able to cover the name of the person who's speaking to you and know who it is by their worldview and their viewpoint and their voice and their choice of language. And I really tried to stick with that. I noticed you did as well. I thought one of the most painful parts of the book is when Ellie is saying that basically it's her fault that she wandered off in the dark. And I think that that's one thing that sort of we universally struggle with is regret and self-blame, especially women. It's like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And when she's saying, I knew I shouldn't have gone off in the dark to use the bathroom at the gas station down the road, it's like, oh, and then she gets grabbed. It's so scary, but it was so heartrending because we all have that moment of regret. Tell us about writing that scene.
Yeah, I think, I came more at that scene from the perspective of like the rules that we have for girls, like not going out after dark, or, like never take a drink from a stranger, like things like that. Like we have all these rules for girls on how to move about the world and stay safe in the world. And the effect of that is that there's a lot of victim blaming that happens after that. And so what I really wanted what I hope it does is with the readers, it kind of, it asks them to ask these questions about, who do these like narratives and these rules for girls like serve, and why are they there? And so even though Ellie, it's not her fault what happened, she does really think it is.
Which I think is also something that we always do to ourselves, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's interesting too, because we do have all these worldviews, don't go out after dark. I remember, hearing that there was this poll, if your safety was guaranteed 24 hours a day, what would you do?
Yeah.
And 99% of women said, I would go outside for a walk by myself after dark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, we live in a world where that's not safe.
Yeah.
And so there are all these rules. Don't go out, hold your key with the serrated edge out, be prepared. Don't go to the parking lot alone. Instead of, teaching the attackers not to attack or teaching.
There's like this, there's this thing going on in social media where they're asking women, like, would you rather be
a bear
like, lost alone in the woods with a man or with a bear? And like like women are choosing bears. Yeah.
I would also choose the bear. I could scare a bear away. Oh my God. Yes, very interesting conversation. Okay. Oh, Renee wants to know, Sara, did you figure the cover out? So only once I had finished it did I go back and start to notice. But I did not. I did not get it until the end. But I do love a cover. I do love an Easter egg. So I love those tasty little, when something's in there and you the hashtag, if you know, and you're like, oh, I do know. John is joining us from Northeast Ohio. Hi, John. Welcome to the conversation. So great to see your name pop up. Renee saying, wow, about all of these POVs in your editing process. Absolutely. She says, that sounds really difficult. Yeah, it does sound difficult. It is difficult for me, at least. How long did it take you, Emiko?
So this novel has like spanned 6 or 7 years, but it was on the shelf for a good portion of that. So with the extra point of views, it took me about 2 years to finalize it. But yeah, I mean, it's probably the most like complicated novel and the most technical that I've ever written. And I think if I had tried to write, did you write all of your point of views like at the same time from the outset?
I added a fourth. I had my 3 women, and then I added the fourth, who was the detective, because he had information. Mine is a true crime. So he had information in the investigation that my reporter could only get from him, but I wanted to be able to share information that he wasn't sharing with her.
Yeah. So sometimes it happens like that. Like you're like, well, I need this element in the book. I need this person for information. And that's, that's kind of also why I added the other point of views too. But I think my brain would have melted if I had tried to write all of them at the same time. Ellie's voice was so distinct. That's kind of the one that I heard first. And then once I wrote the book, I could hear Chelsey. And so I added her in. And then once, I could hear the other characters too, and I added them in.
Okay. Got it. Yes. Because I think, the other thing too is that I really came to love this detective. He is such an incredible human being, and he has such, he's neurodiverse. He's such an interesting human. And I also wanted to tell his story and have him have a chance to have his voice on the page, because I think that's also who you choose to give voice to and how you give them voice is also an interesting choice. So you gave one of these characters a first person voice. Tell us about that choice, who it is and why.
I didn't think about it. This sounds terrible, but Ellie's voice always came to me in first person. I wanted her to be a piece apart, and I wanted her to really have her voice, like to be telling the story in first person, because I didn't want there to be that kind of that separation, that wall. When sometimes you get that when you write in third person. But then the other ones, I did kind of want to have a little bit of separation, because I wanted Ellie to be the character that we empathize with the most.
I like that. And now I'm thinking, do I empathize with her the most? Because I feel like I empathize with Chelsey a lot.
Really? Yeah.
Because I think as a woman trying to navigate, being in a marriage and also having a very demanding career, but loving that career, but feeling the pull between those things, and also feeling the need to bring justice to those who have been wronged is something I really resonate with. I really get that. And so I felt very, and maybe because I don't know, I just really felt aligned with Chelsey, and, you know, her feeling, I don't know, a feeling like an outsider in a lot of places. And I really loved Chelsey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So many questions. We're going to get to them all. Your fellow Pacific Northwester, Margaret Prenard, fellow author, coming in from Oregon, saying, yes, the good old banging the head on the wall phase. You know that phase, right, Margaret? We all have bruised foreheads from writing books. Ooh, Mike wants to know, did you enjoy writing a thriller? And will your next book be one as well? Yeah, you're going to stay over here? You're going to head back to YA, to adult fiction? Tell us what's going on over there.
Yeah, so I kind of have multiple writing tracks now that I've established. So I did write right after this book, I wrote a young adult novel, which will be coming out in the next year or two. But I also wrote a second book that follows Chelsey. So we're going to see her again, and she's going to have a new case, maybe a new partner. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I wasn't quite done with her. I felt like she still, for those of you that have read the book, she still kind of has some loose ends to tie up, I think. And so I felt like her journey needed to continue.
I felt like it did. There's a lot. I feel like there's more for Chelsey. Chelsea's got a longer runway than just one more book, I think. I don't know, just my vibe.
She just has more emotional work to do. I think she's got to do some,
Stop talking about my best friend Chelsey like that, Emiko.
Just to do some healing. She's going to be okay, but she does have some more internal self-work, I think, to do.
Well, her sister disappeared 20 years ago. She's going through a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack. It's going to take some time. Yeah. Renee's saying, I agree. I like to be able to read someone's POV and dialogue and be able to tell which character is talking. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That makes us feel aligned with it. Renee wants to know, how many revisions did you work on? Yeah, so, okay, 6 to 7 years, 2 years of bringing in the additional characters, then editing that. So 100, 1,000, 10,000.
I mean, I think I would say 20, and that's being like kind to myself. It might be in the 30. I don't even know, because there's times you revise the whole manuscript, but then there's times where you just revise one point of view or one chapter. I don't even know. I mean, I would say the whole manuscript underwent probably like a dozen, turns, but I was in and out of it so much I've lost count, Yeah,
I stopped counting because it was too painful to keep counting.
I know. I mean, I think that was I know, if you start counting, that's kind of maybe kills the spirit of the manuscript a little bit.
Spirit died a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. We're getting down into the guts of the writing process now. Okay. Ooh, Sharon wants to know, who was your favorite character to write, and why was it Chelsey? Just kidding. She didn't say that. I'm adding that. Who was your favorite character to write? We got the mom, the dad, the therapist, Ellie, Chelsey.
Yeah. The first thing when you asked that question was Jimmy. It's Ellie's dad.
Jimmy's your favorite?
Well, I don't know if he was my favorite, but I found him to be the most challenging to write, to like
why
get into that head. Well, because I'm not. So Jimmy is Ellie's dad, and I'm not a dad. I'm not. He's also he's a fisherman. He's by trade, and I'm not that either. And so I found it the most challenging and the most interesting to try to get into that space and write from that perspective. But of course, I love Chelsey, and that's what drew me to write, to write her for 20 or so chapters. I mean, you have to really love a character to stick with them. But and maybe I'm saying Jimmy because he was like one of the last ones to write. So maybe I loved him because it meant that I was almost done with the book.
I feel like I could see the finish line, Jimmy. Just get your body out of the way. Oh my gosh. Renee wants to know, is this thriller scary? I found it scary.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I found it scary is because I'm a person who worries a lot about a lot of things. And one of those things that I worry about is getting kidnapped and being held, hostage somewhere. And so the idea that the worst has happened, this has happened, and that we see through Ellie's perspective what what that was like to be held in captivity for 2 years is pretty terrifying for me. Emiko, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're scared of. So yeah, I mean, if you're
Everything.
being kidnapped, then yes, it's going to be terrifying. But if you're like scared of spiders, I can promise it's a spider-free read.
But don't we read mysteries and thrillers to be scared, to work our way through fears, and to have that experience? I mean, Renee, tell us, do you read? Renee's with me every week. She's a valued member of the Maven community. Renee, do you read thrillers to be scared? Tell us. Okay. Oh my gosh. I want to get to all of these fabulous questions, but I also, Robin is saying it's making me ponder. It is making me ponder. This is my pondering face. This is my pondering face. We're thinking about this a lot. Mike's saying, oh, wow, this is such great news that we're going to have another Chelsey book. Absolutely. So Emiko, how are you feeling with the book coming out tomorrow? Tell us all the things.
I'm super excited to share it with readers. You never really know. I mean, you kind of write in a vacuum, you understand it's a pretty isolated process. And so you don't ever really know how it's going to land or if it's going to resonate with readers. So I'm just super happy to share it with readers, and I get to go on tour for this book, which is so great. I had some books come out during like COVID times, and I didn't really ever get to connect with readers and kind of be face to face. And so I'm super excited to get out there and talk to readers.
Yay! Come on out here and talk to us. Y'all, the book drops tomorrow, and you can order it tonight from our favorite independently owned, a woman-owned independent bookstore, Murder by the Book. And the great news is that Emiko is going to the store, so you know what that means. You can order personalized books. Now, y'all know I love mysteries and thrillers. You know I love signed books. What do I love the most? Personalized books. So when you're checking out in the comment section, you can put whatever you want Emiko to say. Now, I always like to make the author say something scandalous. To Susie, I'll never tell. To Sara, your secret's safe with me. You can have Emiko say Happy Mother's Day, Happy Birthday, Happy Father's Day. We got a lot. We're in May. We got Mother's Day coming up. We got Father's Day around the corner. Give yourself a gift for God's sake and have Emiko inscribe it to you. Oh, thanks for all the hearts up, you guys. So here is the link where you can pre-order. And again, just put whatever you want Emiko to say in the comment section and give yourself or your loved ones a very lovely gift. Now, Emiko, we have got to talk about the praise that this book has earned, because my God, woman, Stephen freaking King blurbed your book and he loved it. And the King doesn't blurb much. So he does not review much. So let's see what Stephen King had to say about Emiko's book. He says, The Return of Ellie Black is a page-turning suspense novel, a shrewd character study, and a captivating mystery all at the same time. The last 50 pages are magnetic. I couldn't put it down until I'd experienced every last twist and turn. Stephen King couldn't put your book down. How's that feel, Emiko?
It's incredible. So I'm a big fan. I read him when I was younger, and then I read his book on writing when I decided to start writing. And so it was really a career highlight. I do have to say that I got very excited when the blurb came in, and I told my dad, and I was like, look, Stephen King blurbed my book, and he's like, that's my favorite writer. And I kind of looked at him, help me, your daughter.
Did you say that?
What's that?
Did you say, what about me, your daughter?
Yeah, and he said, you too. But he, it was really funny. So anyways, it was a career highlight for me, and I couldn't quite believe it. When my editor was like, let's, write Stephen King a letter and see if he might be interested in blurbing your book.
I would die.
Yeah, I kind of laughed. I chuckled. I was like, yeah, right. Like he's going to read my book. So I forgot about it. And then the blurb came in a couple weeks later, which was very exciting.
Oh my God, that is very exciting and very intense and thrilling and fantastic and totally a career high. And everybody is so excited. Robin saying a Stephen King blurb. Oh my gosh, I know. Renee saying incredible. I know, it's so incredible. And just for him to say, that the last 50 pages are magnetic, that this is a captivating mystery, because clearly Stephen King knows a thing or two about writing, magnetic pages and page turning suspense novels. So this is just so fantastic. Renee says, are you going to Murder by the Book tomorrow? No, you're going May 10th, right, Renee?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Emiko?
Yeah, I'll be there. Let's see. So Portland, Seattle, LA, and then yes, Friday is Murder by the Book. Yes.
Okay, so order tonight so that they can get those pre-orders printed out and Emiko can get her signing pen sharpened. Margaret's saying, thanks, Dad. Yeah, seriously, Dad. Come on, Mr. Gene. Get
it real for you. They keep it real, you know?
Renee wants to read, but wait, did your dad read this thriller yet? Yeah, did he read this one?
He did.
Oh my God, we have so many laughing faces on Facebook. Okay, so Stephen King is not the only one who loved it. Jessica Knoll, who is the New York Times bestselling author of Luckiest Girl Alive and Bright Young Women, raves. The return of Ellie Black features one of my all-time favorite characters, an unreliable narrator who evokes both sympathy and suspicion. As the murder continues to deepen, I stayed up late into the night turning the pages until I learned the truth of what really happened to Ellie on the day that she was missing, and I audibly gasped when Jean delivered a truly jaw-dropping twist. I think I did, but it was more like a like a strangled sort of gasp, because as per my shirt, I read past my bedtime. And so it was intense. They're not the only ones raving. We have Publishers Weekly saying YA bestseller Gene makes a smooth transition to adult fiction with his atmospheric and surprise-packed thriller. Gene deftly alternates Chelsey and Ellie's perspectives from one cliffhanger to the next, keeping the pages flying with shocking twists and style to spare. This confirms Gene as a writer worth seeking out. Absolutely. Although I think Gene was probably already that. Let's see what Booklist had to say. The complex plot and well-drawn characters will keep readers engaged until they arrive at the surprising conclusion. Gene successfully pivots from romantic relationship fiction, Mika in real life, to crime thriller here. Are you going to stay over here what do you like better, murder and mayhem or, romance over there?
I like them both. And I read, well, thrillers, obviously, but I read it all. So I like to write it all.
Amen. Kirkus compares you to Jessica Knoll, saying her crime novels also revolve around missing girls. Jean focuses less on sensationalizing predators and more on the tragedy of a frenzy of missing girls. They do not give answers. They do not speak of what has come to pass. They whisper, "Find us, please." I loved that. Again, the book drops tomorrow, you guys, and I am going to drop. I'm just scrolling through all these amazing comments. Okay. Margaret says, I wonder what his process for reading arcs is, Stephen King, as hard as it is for me to decide which books to read next. Yeah, Stephen King's TBR must be the size of Mount Kilimanjaro, right?
I think I read in an article somewhere that he has a table that has like piles of manuscripts that he's been asked to read. And I read that before we submitted to him to read. And so I just pictured my manuscript dropping onto it and dust puffing out. Yeah. Another one for the pile. But yeah, he's so gracious and so kind. And I still can't quite believe that his name is, on my book.
Yeah. Get it tattooed on your body. Then it'll be official. Sharon wants to know, are you coming to Massachusetts on this tour?
No, I'm not. I'm going to be in Portland and then Seattle, LA, and then Houston, and then I'm home. Yeah.
That's why you need to order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore so that Emiko can sign and the good folks at Murder in the Book can send.
Yeah.
When is your bedtime, Sarah? Oh my God, Renee, it is late. Girl, I'm a night owl. So honestly, between 1 and 2 a.m., I read late up into the night. The moon comes out and I come alive. Margaret says, #eclectic readers unite. Absolutely. Robin saying, I read most, but not all. No horror for me. I am a wimp. I have to say, Stephen King's last book, Holly, there's a really upsetting scene in there. And I was like, ooh, this is too much for me. I got to put that down. It involves a steak. Oh my gosh. Oh, when do you write, Emiko?
So I used to be a nighttime is the right time writer. Yeah.
I like that. I haven't heard that.
But I had kids.
Oh.
And yeah.
That made it fun.
Happens. And so I am now a daytime writer. I keep regular office hours 8 to 4 and I draft during that time. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Someday I'll go back to the nighttime is the right time.
The nighttime is always the right time. And actually I did my 23andMe and it told me I was a night owl, which I already knew, but it's apparently genetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, you're a night owl. I was like, that is true. Oh, Mary Kubika, who's been on the show 3 times for her books, calls your book brooding and atmospheric with lifelike characters and a truly gripping plot. She says, The Return of Ellie Black is an immersive experience. I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. I had to know how it would end. Mary, same. And also Andrea Bartz weighing in with her praise as well. And Andrea has been on for her last 3 books as well. And she says your debut book kept her up late at night, racing through chapter after thrilling chapter. The Return of Ellie Black is so much more than just a page turner. It's also a thoughtful exploration. That's Mary. Where's Andrea? A thoughtful exploration of trauma, female rage, the violence that women face, and the roles we're allowed to play. I loved it. Oh my gosh. Now there's more praise to come, but our time is drawing to an end. So I'm going to put this in. We've got Flynn Barry, Laurie Elizabeth Flynn, Clemence Michelin. I'm probably saying that wrong. And Samantha Downing, who's been on for her last 2 books as well. So you guys can read these in your own time. Oh, Emiko, where do you live? You're on the Pacific Northwest, right?
Yeah, I live in Vancouver, Washington, so close to the Oregon border.
Are you a native? Is it Packwester or what did you call your people?
Pacific Northwester. So yeah, I grew up in Portland. Yeah. So I've lived up and down the I-5 corridor, but it's always been rainy and gloomy and Pacific Northwest.
I've never been to the Pacific Northwest. I've never been to Oregon or Washington State. So I need to make my way out there. And
I think it's beautiful and it's perfect. It's a perfect setting for a crime novel.
Although I don't like clouds. I think I get depressed when it's like raining for too many days. I'm like,
you should just come for a visit then. Don't come to live.
Oh my God. Okay. Noted. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys, the book is out tomorrow, and check out, I'm dropping in the comments all of the amazing praise that we didn't have time to get to, but the praise, she just keeps on coming up. Margaret, your fellow Pac Northwester, I don't know how to say it, Pacific Northwester, says rain and gloom and wonder moss. What's wonder moss? What the heck is wonder moss?
I don't know. We should ask her what she means by wonder moss land. I've never heard that.
I love moss, but I don't know what that is, but wonder moss. Robin saying, what? Sarah, come visit. Okay, I'm coming, Robin. Renee says, have a killer week. Absolutely. Y'all, here again is the link to pre-order. The book drops tomorrow. And don't forget, Emiko can sign and personalize. Treat yourself, treat your loved ones. Y'all, that's a wrap for us. I hope your week is off to a killer start. Renee, thank you. Yes, you have a killer week. And I will be back next week with more Mystery Monday with a scoop on the night before the book comes out. Have a great night, all.
Thank you.